Hello, lovelies! I know how quickly grocery bills can add up, especially when feeding a growing family. So today I'm taking part in the Interact $100 challenge, and my challenge is to create a family-friendly meal prep menu for less than $100. For this challenge, I'll be sharing 5 delicious dinner ideas that can all be prepped on Sunday and enjoyed through the week, plus some of my favorite tips and tricks for saving big during your weekly grocery shop. Now, of course, for this video, it's important to note I'm using 100 Canadian dollars. As you know, grocery prices vary around the world, so these could go up and down depending on where you're from. For me, the secret to a successful shop is always planning ahead. I like to write down all of my recipes ahead of time and see where I can find some savings. First up, I scour the flyers at my local supermarkets to see where I can find sale items to incorporate, and then I look for inexpensive alternatives to some of my traditional ingredients. The most important part, of course, is setting a budget and sticking with it. I like using the $100 limit when paying with Interact Flash because it keeps me on track and in control of my money. Then when I'm done my shopping, I can simply touch my card and get into the kitchen. I love this week's meal prep menu because it's full of fun, family-friendly recipes that I think everyone in your household will love. First up, for Monday, we are going to be making my baked tofu nuggets with roasted sweet potatoes. Not only do I love this recipe because it's perfect for Meatless Monday, but meat alternatives like tofu and tempeh are really affordable options if you're looking to skim a little off of your grocery bill. I love incorporating tofu at least once a week, and the more you cook with it, the more you'll see how versatile it can actually be. Now, I have a few ways I can make this Monday night dinner a little easier by doing some of the prep on Sunday. First up, I am going to start by slicing up my tofu. Then I'm going to mix up the batter that my tofu is going to be dipped in, which is going to help with our breading process on Monday. Now, it all starts with some flour in our bowl. I'm using just a little bit of all-purpose flour here. Then we need to load in the seasonings because obviously tofu itself is not wildly flavorful. So I'm gonna add some garlic powder. I've got some onion powder, some paprika, and some salt and pepper. These are all really inexpensive spices, which is great. You may already have them in your pantry, but if you had to pick some up, they're quite affordable. And then I'm going to add in some mustard. This is going to be one of the primary flavors here. And then finally, we will add in our milk. The great part is we can mix this batter up ahead of time during our meal prep. And once it's mixed together, we can put some plastic wrap over it and store it in the refrigerator until Monday night when we're ready to make our nuggets. The other thing I like to do on Sunday is to prepare my sweet potatoes. I just peel them and chop them into cubes and then store them in the refrigerator until I'm ready for roasting. Come Monday, you're going to be so happy you did all of that prep because all you're going to need to do is dredge your tofu pieces into your batter and then into some panko breadcrumbs, and you'll have nice crispy nuggets baking in the oven in maybe 10 minutes or less. At this point, these nuggets are oven ready. I've got my oven preheated to 400 degrees Fahrenheit, but I'm going to add one last touch. This is totally optional, but the best way to get these guys nice and browned is just to spray them with a little bit of cooking spray. I usually don't use a ton of cooking spray in my cooking, but if you want that real golden finish, this is the best way to do it. I'm going to bake them in a 400-degree oven for between 18 and 20 minutes. You want to see them get nice and golden. You can also flip them once halfway through cooking to make sure they get evenly browned. My sweet potatoes couldn't be simpler to prepare either, especially because they're already chopped and prepped. I'm just going to toss them in a little bit of olive oil with some salt and pepper, get them on a baking sheet, and then get them into the oven for between 25 and 30 minutes or until they're nice and soft and tender. I like serving these yummy nuggets with some classic barbecue sauce for dipping and a little mixed green salad with some balsamic vinaigrette because of course we all need more greens in our life. Am I right? For Tuesday's dinner, we are making a classic comfort dish. It's a whole roasted chicken with potatoes and carrots. The best part about this dish is that it all gets roasted up in the same pan, so dishes are limited, which of course I love on a Tuesday night. The prep for this recipe is really simple. On Sunday, I'm just going to peel and chop up my carrots and then chop up my potatoes. As you can see, I'm using red skin potatoes in this recipe and I'm gonna leave the skin on, so no need to peel. You just wanna wash them really well with a vegetable brush and then you can give them a quick chop. It's really important though when you're prepping veggies like this in advance that you leave them submerged in water while in the refrigerator. That way they don't lose their color. Come Tuesday, all we'll need to do is preheat our oven to 375 degrees Fahrenheit, and then we'll just toss our veggies simply with a little bit of oil, some salt and pepper, and some poultry seasoning. Once those have been tossed, we can arrange our whole chicken in our roasting dish and season it up the very same way. When it comes to meat, opting for whole cuts like a whole chicken is a lot less expensive than its prepared counterparts. I also love using a whole chicken because there's always some leftovers that we can use in another dinner, which of course I'll be doing on Wednesday. At this point, we're ready for the oven. I've got my oven preheated to 375 degrees Fahrenheit. I'm just going to cover this dish with some foil. This is gonna help it cook a little more quickly. After 1 hour, you can remove the foil and finish the chicken off for an additional 30 minutes or so. What you want is for the breast of the chicken to reach an internal temperature of 165 degrees Fahrenheit. We can hit this with a little bit of freshly chopped parsley, and there you have it, guys. Your house will smell absolutely amazing while it's cooking. And the best part is we have lots of leftover chicken to use in Wednesday night's dinner, our one-pot chicken Caesar penne. There's very little prep for this dish except for mincing your garlic. We're also going to mince 1 clove of garlic for Thursday's dinner, which is an incredible cheddar broccoli frittata. If you're mincing garlic, you might as well do it all at once, am I right? To set myself up for success during my Sunday meal prep, I always like to chop my garlic and my spinach ahead of time. Then come hump day, when I'm exhausted and ready for dinner, all I need to do is fire up a little bit of oil over medium-high heat in a Dutch oven and cook up my garlic for about 30 seconds or so. Then once my garlic is nice and fragrant, I can add my penne to the pot. I'm using penne in this recipe, but of course any pasta will do. Pasta is such a great weeknight dinner idea because of course it's really inexpensive and cooks really quickly. To that, I'm also going to be adding some chicken broth. The idea with one-pot pasta, if you're not familiar, is that our pasta is going to cook in the same pot as our sauce. I'm gonna bring that mixture to a boil and then reduce my heat to medium. Then I'll just let it cook away for between 12 and 14 minutes or until all of the liquid has been absorbed and the penne is nice and tender and cooked through. You wanna make sure when you're making a one-pot pasta dish like this that you stir it every 2 to 3 minutes because of course all of those starches love to stick to the bottom of your pan, and nobody needs harder dishes on a Wednesday night. Am I right? Once our pasta is cooked through, we can go ahead and add our finishing touches. So I've got a few cups of cooked chicken left over from last night's dinner. And for our sauce in this dish, we are seriously cheating with some store-bought Caesar salad dressing. I find another great way to save during the week is to keep seasonings really simple and use store-bought options like Caesar salad dressing, which is already packed with great flavor. I'm going to give this all a good stir until it's well coated. Our final ingredient, because we all need more greens in our life, is my baby spinach. No one ever seems to mind eating their greens when they're covered in Caesar salad dressing. In just a minute or two, it will have wilted away and this pasta is ready to be enjoyed. I like finishing it off with a little salt and pepper and some fresh lemon juice for a nice tartness. And there you have it, guys. Dinner in under 20 minutes. What is not to love? For Thursday night's feast, I've got another effortless idea for you. It's my easy broccoli and cheddar frittata. Now, when it comes to scoring big savings during your weekly grocery shop, I always recommend eating breakfast for dinner at least one night a week because eggs are such an affordable option and they're packed with protein. As always, to make my life easier, I do a ton of my prep on Sunday. So I chop my onion and my garlic as well as my broccoli. Now, a great way to maximize your broccoli intake is to use the stalk. A lot of people are intimidated by the stalk, cut it off and throw it away. That is always a mistake. All you want to do is take a sharp vegetable peeler and peel the stalk. Once you've removed the woodier parts of the stem, it is totally edible. I like to cut it into small pieces, then chop up my florets, and this broccoli is ready for my Thursday night frittata. I'm also going to be prepping my cheese for my broccoli cheddar frittata. You can really save a lot of money if you simply shred your cheese yourself. The pre-shredded cheese that you can buy in the supermarket, while it's very, very convenient, actually contains a ton of additives which prevents it from sticking together in the packaging. So not only are you getting a much better bang for your buck by just shredding your cheese yourself, but you're also sparing yourselves all of those food additives that nobody needs more of in their life. I'm going to shred half of my cheese for Thursday night's dinner and save half of it for Friday night's dinner, which we'll get to in just a second. Come Thursday, I feel like a true kitchen champ because this dinner comes together in a snap. All I'm going to do is whisk up my eggs with a little milk and salt and pepper. Now it's time to fire up a little bit of oil on the stove. I'm using a cast iron skillet because we're actually going to be finishing this in the oven. It's fine to use something nonstick, but you need to make sure that it is oven safe. As soon as that oil is nice and hot, I'm going to get my onion into the pan and cook that until it's nice and soft and translucent. Next, I'll add my garlic, cook that for another 30 seconds or so. As soon as that garlic is fragrant, we are going to add our broccoli to the pan. We're just gonna give it a bit of a head start, help it get a little soft and tender and a little bit green before we add our egg mixture. We're gonna get the cheddar cheese on top, and then we're gonna pop it into the oven at 350 degrees Fahrenheit and let it cook away for between 12 and 15 minutes or until the eggs are completely set. And then it is ready to be devoured. I like serving this deliciousness with some mixed greens and some balsamic vinaigrette. What could be easier than that? A seriously excellent weeknight dinner idea, if I do say so myself. Now for Friday night dinner, we're actually not doing any prep on Sunday because of course things that you prep on Sunday will likely not be too fresh come Friday, which is why I love making Friday night pantry dinner night. Tonight, we're mixing up my Fiesta burrito bowls. I have never met a kid who was not into this dish. I'm starting with a nice big saucepan heating up on the stove over medium-high heat. To that, I'm going to be adding some long grain white rice, some store-bought salsa from the pantry, some taco seasoning, also from the pantry, and some chicken broth. Wouldn't you know it? From the pantry. I'm just going to give everything a stir, bring this mixture to a boil, and then I'll reduce my heat to low, pop a lid on, and let this cook away for about 15 minutes or until our rice is nice and tender. At that point, I can remove my lid and add 2 more delicious pantry staples. I've got some canned black beans that I've rinsed and drained, as well as some canned corn. Beans, we know, are one of the most affordable sources of protein out there. Plus, when you mix beans with rice, you end up with a perfect protein that makes this meatless meal a total hit. I like finishing this off with a good drizzle of sweet and tangy barbecue sauce, such a perfect complement, as well as the remaining cheddar cheese that I shredded during my Sunday prep. Finally, for a little freshness, I've got some lime wedges headed into each bowl, and there you go, guys. Friday night dinner, 20 minutes or less. There you have it, guys. We just made 5 delicious dinners for under 100 Canadian dollars. I could not be more pumped about how all of these recipes turned out, and I really hope you will give this meal prep a try for yourselves. If you do, be sure to tweet me, Instagram me, or Facebook me a photo, because as always, I love seeing your kitchen creations. Keep in mind, all these tasty recipes and the full shopping list are linked in the description box below. But I really want to know what you guys would buy with your $100 challenge. Let me know below. Don't forget to check out the playlist and iCards for more great challenge videos. And of course, thanks so much to Interact for sponsoring this video. Finally, if you haven't already, be sure to subscribe because there is lots more meal prep deliciousness where this came from.